Hi sweet friends, my name is Jeannie. Welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to show you some of my late summer home decor and hopefully y'all like it. Enjoy the video. Okay, so I just put this little display together of of sunflowers, and you know I love sunflowers, and this is the perfect time of year for it. So I just used an old crock and a mini pitcher with a sunflower on this one, and some measuring cups and an old vintage scale. I got this from Michael's, I believe, last year in their fall time, but it's any time is good. I did upgrade my olive oil bottle at TJ Maxx and spent like $3.99 for it, I guess. I recently thrifted this chalkboard that looks like a breadboard kind of thing, and you'll see I updated my towel, and I got another Magnolia table book and my Antique Candle Co. candles. Oh no, this one isn't. This was a gift, something else. So anyways, nothing really new up here. Still enjoying everything there. I did, however, my husband hung this knife rack for me, and it's obviously we've hit it a couple times, but this is very convenient. I don't know if y'all have ever used one of these, but I'm kind of glad my little hanging thing is here because it protects it from actually falling off if we do nudge into it. So and here I have a collection of spoon rests, which I don't know why I have so many, but they look cute in that little crock. And here's one of those pallet shelves, so just on the ground. I haven't done anything up here. Look at that. I need to change my my sign up here because it says spring still. Okay, y'all got me. I did move my basket and my big crock filled with rolling pins up here, and I made this for my husband years ago. Our last name was Harris, so I took beers that we had tried all at different places. It's a funny story. My husband didn't have his first beer till he was 43 years old, so he's making up for lost time now. Super religious, which I get, I understand. Just, you know, one of those things. So anyways, we used to sample beers, mostly him, and I just pounded them down and took one of these H's from, I don't know if I thrifted it or got it at Michael's or something like that, and then I hot glued all these smushed bottle tops on top of that to make an H, so it's pretty cool. I change these out every day. If these are in the dishwasher, we have our little hearth and hand ones that I got at an antique store, even though they're not antique. So my husband loves that I got this big one here instead of the Ray Dunn because he's so funny. He's like, I have to refill it so often. Okay, but he doesn't refill it. I refill it, but that's okay. I put my old Hobby Lobby shelf up here that I had painted the top on. Nothing new here except for this is a new old piece. It's a just a vintage crock with all the crazing, and I just love it. It's supposed to be like a flower pot or something, but I like it right here holding my vintage wood vessel things, you know. My sunflower cups that I bought last year from TJ Maxx, and this is new. I just love it. You can leave it out because it keeps the butter up underneath. It keeps it fresh, so I really like it. I've brought a couple of my Ray Dunn things out. I've really, I think that looks sweet there. I brought one of my pitchers here, my little hobnail pitcher, and put a little sunflower hand towel hanging out of it with some eucalyptus. And Nothing really new up there. I just changed it around a little bit, so. And let's see. I still have my bins over here from, what's it called, 4th of July, so y'all bear with me. I have to wait for my husband to take them out. Lillian Rose looks very pretty here in her sunflower and bee apron. And this is the crock that I thrifted recently. It was originally a Hearth and Hand for $25, and I got it for $4 at the thrift store. It's not been too long ago. I got this from a shop on Etsy, and it's so pretty. It's in German. It's a breadboard. So, and there's part of my collection of mashers, vintage mashers. Oh, I don't know if I showed y'all this. Let me show you this. I'm not sure if I showed y'all this, but I got this off of Facebook Marketplace maybe a year ago. It was cream and I painted it black. And I got these little jars at the dollar store, Dollar General, and put some of my spices in there, and it's just so sweet. And then I hung a little Hearth and Hand mixing cups right there, so I like it. Those bins, I tell you, I don't like them there. When I'm done with the decor, I'm ready for it to get out of sight. So here's the table that I redid recently, and I actually like it better like this. I know it's messy looking or whatever, but I love it, so it's still good. This is my hutch. I kind of redid it a little bit for summer, but not much. I took the watering cans down and put some of my vintage stained and crazed pictures up there with some flowers coming out. The bowls are, hold on, let me turn this light on right here. The bowls are all thrifted. I did not buy any of them at an antique shop, actually. They're just thrifted. And I have a collection of wooden utensils in there. This is thrifted. I love the staining and crazing on these. This one I got at the Vintage Market, Days of Jacksonville. And anyways, all those are thrifted items, including the pictures and the butter molds. So, and I have a lady that I bought something off of Macari. I guess it's been 3 weeks ago, and she said, "Do you have a YouTube channel?" I said, "Yes, ma'am." And she said, "Oh my gosh, I watch you all the time. I thought I recognized you." So I will link her Etsy store. I can't remember right this second, but she was super sweet and always easy to work with, and good customer service and stuff. So this is what I bought from her. I think I bought 2 of them, and just a really nice lady. I think I bought 2 of these. This one, and I think it's over here. I'll show it to you. And then my last year's, or the year before, my little sunflowers from Hobby Lobby. Okay, so down here I have another breadboard, and I kind of screwed this one up, y'all, but I still like it. It was really, really, really dark brown, really dark, and I didn't care for it too much, so I put the oven cleaner method on it, but I left it on too long, so I screwed it up, and it like took pieces. Either that or it wasn't real wood, I'm not sure, but it's old, so I don't know. Here's my campfire marshmallows. I just kind of put it in the background with my cake servers and some wooden stuff. I don't know if y'all are familiar with this, but I got Antique Candle Co.'s, these are called Woodwick candles from Antique Candle Co., and I was a tester, so they sent me 4 of them, and they were fall scents and Christmas scents. I had 2 tree farms that were different recipes, I guess it would be called. and a Christmas Day and a Cozy Cabin, and I got them for free and got to send in my survey. And I honestly, I love antique candles, but I did not care for the wood wick. I had one that wouldn't stay lit. You couldn't smell the smell hardly at all, and I just prefer the other ones. That let's not mess with it because it's a good thing. Let's not mess it up. So I got to keep the candles, of course, but I gave my honest opinion, and so I've already since ordered the sampler for fall as well. So here's my scale. I thrifted these not too long ago. I have 2 Dundee jars here. This was my favorite. This is the one I got for $4.99 at my favorite thrift store. Another Stained and Crazed creamer. This is my little scale that I brought back from Asheville when we were there in the fall. Another breadboard, but that is not like a traditional breadboard. I don't think. I got 2 of them exactly alike at the thrift store. So, and then I used the same thing. I used the oven cleaner method on it to make it prettier, a prettier color wood. So this is just a Hobby Lobby cutting board from last year when the spring was on clearance. So alrighty, so I changed this area up a little bit. I brought this table, which is a vintage table, and I brought it in, I painted it and sanded it and got it, but I brought it over to this corner. So I recently thrifted this suite, and I don't have it in the frame correctly, I know that, but isn't that sweet? I thrifted that yesterday. My favorite antique store is closing down. It's a, not because it's not busy, but I think it's politics, but they had everything 75% off yesterday, and this is their last weekend, so it just breaks my heart. That's where Ron, my buddy that has cancer, is works at, and I always get such great deals there, and they have higher end stuff. So anyways, I put my piggies on either side. I have some over here too. I'll show you. Sorry that glare, but I have some vintage pig cutting boards, a vintage thrifted white pitcher, more of those little ceramic canisters. These are my little what are those called? Coasters, but they're glass and silver. There's the other Dundee jar I got from my friend. So I did my subtle sunflowers here and there. So I have my little antique scale here and a couple of my butter stamps, and this is probably my favorite ever. It's a curved pastry board, and then it's made to hang on the wall and hold a rolling pin. But they say if you can find a metal rolling pin to match, that it's worth even more. I don't care how much it's worth. It's one of my favorite antiques that my husband purchased for me for my birthday, so years ago. I put my plate rack down here. It doesn't fit ideally, but here's the rest of my cutting boards. I have been, and this is a, what do you call it? It goes over your stove. But I have a bunch of vintage things here, wooden things here, like cutting boards and risers and stuff like that. I'm really trying to declutter a lot, so I'm getting rid of a lot of things, and I already have gotten rid of a lot of things. So there's my scale that I brought back from Asheville as well. I know you can't see it there very well. Let's see if I can, nope, that was the wrong way. There you go, so you can see that better. I just use it to hang my philodendron on. I still have my flags out because I love my flags. Sorry, let me get back a little bit so you can see. I know it's a little messy looking, and I probably won't leave it there, but I just couldn't part with them yet. So here's my KitchenAid with a pretty sunflower towel hanging out. Here's a few more cutting boards. This one's not vintage, but these are vintage, the piggies. So another thrifted pitcher. And more ceramic things. I have a Ray Dunn piggy up here, and another Dundee jar with the coasters. Okay, so I don't know if I showed y'all an up close of this, but I still have a couple flags right here too because I just like them. A little hydrangea arrangement. This is a thrifted little galvanized pitcher that I got. And I have thrifted all of these things except for the book. I got it off of Amazon. And I love the riser tray as well. It's I think it's a computer thing, but it looks like a vintage drawer, you know. So it's really pretty. Let me step back and give you all a little glance of what it looks like here. This is, I know our dining room has a lot of stuff in it. And then you get over here to the plants. It's like a jungle in here, but I like it. So here is the hutch wall. And here's the window wall. This is ideal right here because it holds our air fryer and our mixer. I've never used the mixer right there, but I don't use it that often anyways. When I bake, I do. But this I got off of Facebook Marketplace a couple years ago for $60, I think. And it's very, very, very old. But it was a terrible cream crackle paint thing, so I just painted it over with some white chalk paint and aged it a little bit, you know, like just the edges, and it looks so much better. Okay, I hung both of my baskets. This one is Liz Marie Galvin, and this one is thrifted. But I brought this. This was the one my husband was using for his work stuff, so I got it here, and I'm just using it. I have my candles and my essential oils and stuff like that in here. So I bought a few more candles, the what do you call them, the battery operated ones for on Amazon Prime Day. I have my Sweet Aria diffuser here, the white one, and I refilled my diffuser water a little tall, so I don't have my cap on it right now. It'll spill if I do. This is a riser that I got at one of the vintage markets. And everything's doing well here. This is my wood trough tray, whatever it's called, that I purchased in Asheville when we were there in the fall. This is one of the Hobby Lobby vases I got on clearance. And a few more of my plants. These are my cute little, what do you call them? The Viewmasters. And here's a little bowl with all the things in it. So if you want to look at it, I don't have that candle lit right now, but I brought this table back in here, this sewing machine table. I am going to get my husband to cut off each end of this because it's a little bit big. I think it would look prettier, more horizontal. I'm sorry, you know, not square, more rectangular. That's what I'm talking about. So anyway, there's the view, the bigger view of that. I made a sweet little vignette here with, I got this off of Macari, and I'm not sure if this was broken ahead of time or not, but it doesn't bother me. I would not want it because of that. I probably should stain it a little bit so it's darker and doesn't look like a thing, you know. I got this recently from the thrift store. I'm not sure if I posted the video or not. It's a vintage, I think it's a pancake maker. I mean, like a toast press or a pancake press or something like that. I'm not sure. I'm not going to use it. I just think it's pretty. And this is a vintage, like potato masher, but it's metal. Some old silverware and some cash register tags. Here's my sweet little angel vine. I just brought it inside from yesterday because it was I don't know, I miss it. I miss it being in here. So my old Toledo scale and an old pitcher with some white sunflowers. Gosh, I can't believe it's the end of July, y'all. It's so crazy. Time flies when you're having fun. All right, let me show you in here. There's my grand dog, Luna. She looks so uncomfortable, doesn't she? Hi, pretty girl. Hi, beautiful. Oh, I love these babies. They're so sweet. So I brought all my sunflowers out because I love them out for summer. After I get rid of the patriotic, I go to the sunflowers, and I could do sunflowers year-round. I know it's not straight. Well, it's straight. It's just not equal apart. But anyways, I hung these two architectural stuff, whatever, on either side of my vintage board that I made. And it just gives it a little bit more pop. It's not so plain and then that huge thing's on the wall. So these are little thrifted word cards. So just used them for that. This is a sweet little vignette I have over here. This does not belong here. So I have a thrifted vintage picture here. That's the flowers of the month thing. That one's June. So I had it up for June and July. A little cloche with some, those are little tiny flower frogs. And a vintage scale with some escargot pots on it. And a little sweet basket here. I love these little egg baskets. A little collection of Bibles in a, not vintage, but it's a, what do you call it? A devotional. A little cream, a little old cream thing. And then my anthropology pot with my rosemary coming out of it. But these are just some bobbins that I have in a, I think this is Antique Farmhouse or Decor Stills. I'm not sure which one, but it's just, you know, it holds a, I had the candle in it. That's why it was out. This is something I got from a sweet little shop in, well, I can't remember right now, Dade City. I got that from, so the antique shop. Very primitive shop. Okay, so here's my, I think I've shared this with y'all. I thrifted this, oh my God, I didn't put the screws in. They're just barely in there. Oh my gosh. Y'all, one of these days, everything's going to come crashing down, and it's going to be my fault. So, anyways, this is my collection of, I think they're all vintage. I've gotten them all off of either at a thrift store or Macari, or that's it. That's the only places I would have gotten them. But I just put them in this vintage after I sanded it down a little bit to lighten it just ever so slightly because it was really dark. But it's cute right there. And this is another vignette that I have. I have my beautiful, this is the pot that I redid. It was just a Dollar General pot, and I didn't care for it too much, so I did a little technique on it that I showed on my shorts. A little birdie, a little tiny cloche that I think I thrifted two different pieces here. A little birdie that I thrifted too, but I thrifted this piece. It's like holds a candle in here on the mason jar, and the mason jar doesn't have a bottom, which is so cool. But I thrifted that recently for $4. Another tomato spoon, and here's my little opera glasses. Oh, I thought I lost this. I was like, where did my magnifying glass go? I got this at TJ Maxx for $12. It's so pretty. It's like a ivory bone or whatever. I know it's fake, but it's so pretty. I think this is just beautiful. So I have both of these my dad gave me, and they are original prints of Marjorie Kinnan Rawlings, which she's near me. Her home is right near where I live. So my dad gifted these to me. So they are original prints. So, you know, like the first printing of these two books. So it's The Yearling and Cross Creek. So she's quite in her history is quite well known around here. So we even have a restaurant named The Yearling. And Cross Creek is a town, so, well, a little town, not really a town, just a area. It's not even, it's tiny. So, there's my vintage scale with a couple of flower frogs. This is a Ray Dunn birdhouse turned backwards. This is kind of like a bird watching theme, sort of. And this is a vintage book just turned around. I have recently redone, y'all, I love these tequila bottles, but I'm not decorating. I don't know what's in the floor right there, but I'm decorating. I did decorate with blue and white in here, but they don't fit in here. So I got 2 of them and they're just sitting here for now because they don't fit and I can't open the doors with them either. So all this stuff is thrifted except for, I think, this platter and this little mini pitcher. I got those both off of Macari. But my little chicken, actually it has pumpkin spice in it. This is an antique farmhouse vintage item. And I got a little cloche over that. The vintage salt and peppers, I have one on either side. These, I thrifted all of these at the same time from Goodwill. I couldn't believe it, for like $8 for all of them. I could not believe it. About had a happy stroke. This is just a little vintage butter pat that I thrifted, and a vintage rolling pin. So I just have some jars and canisters here. I went back on separate days and found the lid to this thing. Isn't that funny? And she gave it to me. I said, that's the lid. I was just in here like 2 days ago. She goes, just take it. It's good. So more of the vintage salt and pepper shakers. The vintage cups that I thrifted. A couple little Ray Dunn things. Now that I've put away most of my Ray Dunn things, I really treasure the ones that I have out, so that really helped me. There's another little metal cloche that I got at the vintage market. I have a collection of butter paddles here. The old Pyrex percolator thing. I love that. So that is it. And then down here, I have another vintage pitcher, some vintage scoops and spoons and all that kind of stuff. So I love the way that is right now. And I know it's busy, but it's my collection. So, okay, let me put these back before I break them. I know what this is. I was sanding last night and I got stuff everywhere and I vacuumed, but that must be something that didn't come out. So I know this is not for now, but I ordered it off of Amazon. Isn't it so sweet? It's a mud pie. And I just haven't put it away yet. So, because it's adorable. I thrifted this yesterday, this little swan at the store that's going out of business. This is a Hobby Lobby vase. And the famous little, these are the cream colored ones, but they're the Cosmos, and I love them. Another thrifted doily here. I recently, actually last weekend, last Sunday night, I chalk painted the top of this table because it had a little stain on one little side, and then I polyacryliced it, and then I whitewashed. This was fine down here, but I whitewashed this. And not whitewash, what's it called? Yeah, like chalk paint, the white chalk paint, chalk paste, that's what it is. And I like hand rubbed it on and then wiped it off. So it turned out really cute. I like that little table. It's just simple. All right, here's my daughter thrifted this years ago, and then I begged her for it long enough that she gave it to me. So it's got a lot of my little collections. I know we don't see this up close very often. I don't know why this isn't focusing great, but anyways, I have some Dundee Crocs. I have some bowls that I brought back from Asheville that are vintage, that I got at a vintage shop. Some vintage clocks. A little container right here of, let me hold this right here, of vintage buttons. These are more of those, that's ironstone insulators, but it's in a little mini egg basket. I have the little Sorry about that. My husband called. We're leaving camping this afternoon, so he's trying to get off a little early. Anyways, the rest of my stuff, I have some vintage creamers and some vintage, those little hens in a nest thing right here. They're so sweet. The egg coddlers, the little cheese mold up here, the heart-shaped one, some Dundee jars, lots of little butter pats. This is a vintage egg skill that my mom gifted me before she passed away. Some butter molds here on either side, right here. This is not an old vase, but it's pretty. It's thrifted with some pretty olive stems coming out of it. And this is a crock. It's not vintage. It's one of those from Target last year. So these are vintage mixers, hand mixers in here, and a couple of rolling pins. In my hutch, I love this. This is my favorite hutch, y'all. I'm actually considering getting rid of my two primitive ones, but I don't think I can do it. They were gifts from my parents, and I just don't know about getting rid of them. But they just take up a lot of room. So I have a little cloche here with some vintage flower frogs in them, and all these are vintage dishes in here that I have thrifted and collected over the years. This is one of those old, I have a whole set of these galvanized. This one's sugar, but there's sugar, salt, all that kind of stuff. I have some of those Hoosier cabinet jars here that in green. So all these are like thrifted items, except for the two boards. Those were Hobby Lobby. Just more vintage dishes I have, except for these are not vintage, but they were thrifted. Those are, I thrifted them from the Goodwill, but they're Ray Drummond. What she do? I can't remember what she does, but y'all know who. Pioneer Woman. Have a couple of Ray Dunn things in here too. I saw another one of these yesterday, and I loved these little, I think they're card holders or stationery holders or whatever. I saw another one yesterday at the thrift store that was going out of business, and I almost got it, and I'm like, I don't need another one. So anyways, look at the big stud. This is one of those, I thrifted that recently. It's a mold, like a Jello mold or something. This was actually purchased off of Decor Stills Antique Farmhouse. I can't remember which one I did, but it's I don't know what they call it, but it's just wood. It's like a real wood, but it's like got a handle, and it's just cool for a cool vessel for holding things. So, and then I have more thrifted molds and Jello molds and plates and platters and a couple of Dundee jars that are old, but not as old as my favorite ones. This is thrifted. All this stuff is either thrifted or Macari, but the only thing that's Macari is these 4 Dundee jars. Those were my first ones, other than that one I got for $4.99 that I love so much. Okay, so that's everything that's in there. I did change this up recently because I got a new clock, and I'll show y'all where I put it. But I took my old clock that I had right here and put it in the God, I can't talk, in the kitchen. So there's my my goose with a pretty little philodendron coming out, and my little pie safe with some vintage creamers, and I have 2 cows in there. One's a creamer and one's just a little container. So I have my crocks. I have a terrarium, whatever it's called. Some vintage candle stick holders, a little vintage linens, but this is a blanket ladder. A couple of dough bowls, my number 8, which is also a number 4. I like the 8 too, because we actually have 8 people now. We have 4 dogs in the house, a cat, and me and my husband and my daughter, so it's a lot. So I am looking for a smaller table here. I love this table, but it takes up a lot of room. So here I have my lovely vintage scale, which is heavier than, oh, it's heavy. It's really, really heavy. But also I have this that I thrifted not too long ago. I'm sure it's probably not that old, or not old at all, but I still like it. Here's a little chicken, one of those, it's a vintage one. A couple of Hobby Lobby vases with some flowers coming out. A vintage copper teapot. A little cloche with a little thrifted duck candle napkin holder in it. And I got this off of Amazon. It's this sweet little, it's got the ruffle edge there. It's really sweet. So, and I took my wooden chairs outside and just put the 2 painted ones in here. So the black, white, and brown to me works. So let me show you in here. Sorry, I got more stuff down here that I've recently, ow. God, I'm rough on myself, y'all. This is more stuff for the pile that I'm taking to the thrift store right here. So I have a couple candle holders, and what is this? This is what's that called? Milk glass, and a clock right here. So I actually thrifted this last week, and it's earlier this week, and it's so pretty. I'm just gonna wait to hang it till I'm ready. This is a thrifted painting, and I like it. It's probably more summer, fall, but I really like it. This is a vintage basket that I got for like $3 at a little thrift store. Another cow creamer, and my copper pitcher from Hobby Lobby a couple years ago. It's looking pretty rough. My cow creamers, and a vintage teapot, and my white cottage stoneware pot. And I finally broke down and bought that pretty sunflower. It was 50% off. Sunflower picture. And that's another, to the left here is one of the vases that was on clearance. It's that pretty mustard color. So I've got some faux greens coming out, and some vintage register tags there. Okay, this thing is crazy. It's my crepe myrtle tree, but it can't decide if it wants to be a tree or a bush, so it just looks like a big old blob over there. So we're going to cut it down this year and see if it gets any better. So this is my Hobby Lobby clock that I purchased recently, but it was gray in all the black areas, and I just changed it up a little bit because I didn't like it too much. It was too white or too gray or something. I don't know. It needed more of a contrast, so I like it. It's not for everybody, but it's mine, so that's why I changed it. Here's another small collection of my vintage pictures. There's that crazy tree out there. So pretty. And this is tinted. That's why it looks like this. This is a thrifted chalkboard. I thrifted this welcome home sign recently. I think I need to paint over this. This is too much welcome. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I thrifted this recently. It's a sweet little hanging basket, and I put some greenery coming out. This is another vintage picture with I think that's a peony coming out. And here is just lots and lots of florals, just boom. And I don't know why I still have this here. I need to move it. I need to put it in the office, but I'm still cleaning out the office. So I moved this over here. So this is a sweet little fan light, whatever you want to call it, fan light. 2 thrifted horse heads. I started to sell those, but I decided not to because I really like horses. My husband likes horses. I thrifted this book recently, actually yesterday, For Whom the Bell Tolls by Ernest Hemingway. I want to read it because we visited his home in Key West a couple times. So pretty anthropology vase. with lots of florals coming out. It's a pretty silver tray coming out of my green suitcase here, just a overnight case. A pretty doily and just a few things in there. This is the agricultural almanac that I got for my husband the year he was born, so isn't that cool? It's got some cool stuff in it too. It's just, you know, where to plant, garden signs, that kind of thing. It's pretty neat. These are all thrifted, these plates here. And it's just a Hearth and Hand cake plate. So, and there's a little horse that I thrifted this week. So I recently took the top of this and sanded the crap out of it last night. That's why everything looks a little dusty, because I've dusted since then, but it's still, you don't sand inside, but I did, so it's my fault. Anyways, let me see what else. Here is the little my coffee table. This is the famous Target thing. I don't know what it called, wood tray, whatever. This is just a thrifted plain old box. I don't even think there's anything in it. I did the little the tiles from, what's that game? Scrabble. Is it Scrabble? Yes. And then a Gather at Home book, which is a very nice book that I got off of Amazon. I like it. A little vase. I think it's from the dollar store. And some beads. I brought this in here because I decided to get it out of my room. But the chair and this big armoire, wardrobe or whatever it is, but at this time I have decided not to. I'll probably put it in my daughter's room after she moves out. So it's not a terrible eyesore in here, but I gotta still take these couple things out to the shed. Here's my mantle for, sorry, I have my mop bucket over here. I don't know why. Y'all, what's wrong with me? I haven't put it away yet, so anyways, I thrifted this recently. It's just a little lantern, and I put the greenery and the little one of those candle, battery operated candle things in it. I thrifted this recently, this eagle print, and I think it's so beautiful. I really like it. And then a couple more things of greenery there. I still have my little, that's real. These are not. And my blanket ladder there. I did put this picture up. I don't know if you can see that with the glare, but anyways, it's just a picture. It's pretty. I thrifted it. I did finally get my wall. I'm fixing to make some shelves with these. I did get my wall, all the stuff taken down, and you can see all the holes in it now. So I need to paint it, but I'm just not up for that right now. And my husband said, please don't take this down. I like to have it for my area. And y'all, this is his area. He keeps it very, very like him. Just wants to drop his crap when he gets home from work. He keeps his medicines there, his wallet and his charger and his laptop and all that stuff here. So I just don't know where to do. I think I'm going to put it in the office, but I'm not sure. I did leave this part of the gallery wall because I think it's perfect. It's got my Louie, and it's got all my 3 babies and my current puppies. And that's my Louie, the little man I had for 17 years. And then there's the babies. Look, Roscoe is so tiny. Roscoe, Puddin', and Daisy. And this is one of those, I don't have the light on, I'm sorry y'all, but this is one of those lantern holders in a vintage lantern. And I love it. And there's the charcoal drawing that one of my patients did of my Louie. This is a thrifted, and it's not straight. I've got that putty stuff on there, but y'all, I can't get it to work right. It's user error. So I love that picture, and I haven't changed this up yet, but I love that little, it works great. I thought I was going to order those other letters, but this works fantastic. So So I'm in my office now, and it's not cleaned out all the way, but I'm getting there. I keep having this bottom drop out of this. I don't know what to do for it, y'all. I've tried to tape it. If y'all have any suggestions, please let me know. But this is my, what is it called? Like a peddler's rack or whatever. So it's like a shoe rack. And then I can't get this one to hang right either. It's an oval picture and it hangs cattywampus all the time, but that's okay with me. I'll fix it eventually. So I have my collection of black Bibles here and a vintage radio right here. This is a vintage globe. This is the little sunflower print that my mom painted. It was on the front of a card. So now I've recently, as of yesterday, thrifted this, the baby gown too, but I thrifted this. Isn't it pretty? It's got a steel base. It's heavy as all get out, but it's in great shape. But it is a little older though because of that steel base on it. I put all my quilts in this primitive cabinet, and I just changed this stuff up a little bit. Mostly vintage thrifted items. And I have two. I thrifted this as well. It's a over, like a christening, just the gown part of it. It's so sweet. It's got the most darling little daisies and roses, and oh my God, it's precious, y'all. A little satin tie here. Here's a little dress that I put under it. But I got my diffuser here. I did do a tiered tray in here as well. Another little christening gown, an old cotton one. This is a jar of baby shoes. I love these glass apothecary jars. This is a thrifted print of the flowers of the month, and I don't know which month this one is. Does it say? I don't know. I think it's March for some reason. I think it's March. But look at that. Look at that. It'll probably fall during the night and scare the crap out of me. Anyways, I don't have this up here. It's just what do you call it? Like leaned up against something, so I'm not going to mess with that. Here's my another one of those pictures I thrifted, and lots of vintage items up there. And my other hutch with all sorts of vintage pottery in it, so it's so pretty. Okay, and this is my last wall in here. A vintage window with a cotton wreath on it. And I have this is a vintage accordion rack. Here's another one of those baskets. I thought I just had one, but apparently I have two, because that's a different one that I showed you a little while ago. Actually, I think this is the one that I thrifted this week, but I did thrift the other one as well. But this is a bunch of creamers / waters, you know. I know it's a little busy right here, but this is not supposed to be here. This is a table. This is a table that I got from the thrift store, and it was all a very, 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 very dark, like mahogany cherry or something like that, but it was just painted that. And I sanded and sanded and sanded and sanded and sanded and sanded, used a little bit of, what do you call it, the stripper, and then I got it to where I wanted it. So it's really, really pretty. Oh, and I also replaced the knobs. I put these are Hobby Lobby, and I replaced those with what they had on it. So this is a thrifted binoculars, like for bird watching or something. A vintage, very, very, not vintage, just as antique. It's 104 years old or something like that Bible. And more of my vintage black Bibles here, but I thrifted this recently for $4. It's a lamp with this base is, what do you call it? It's, what is this called? Abalone or something like that. It's like shells. Anyways, it's beautiful. And I found this separately, and I deconstructed it. I know it doesn't look good here. We need a plain wall to put it behind. But anyways, that's what I did with it for now. I need to work on it some more, but that's what I did with it for now. I put Summer Love on my little Scrabble tiles here. This is I love this jar. Believe it or not, it's a mason jar, but it had moonshine in it. And I don't know who drank the banana cream moonshine. But it was good. That's something we probably brought back from the mountains with us. But the vintage Bibles, this is a note that my mom gave me years ago, and I treasure that so much now that she's gone. This is a thrifted bouquet with a little, see, it's got this gorgeous little hobnail vase. This is a vintage hand mold back here. Kind of like this one right here. It's a vintage hand mold right there. I love my little things that could do baby shoes. These are some sort of a sewing thing. I knew it for a while, but don't know. And these are both vintage thrifted candlesticks. Anyways, that's pretty much it. I thrifted these not too long ago, excuse me. But that is it for now for in here. I still have a lot to do in here. I'm really, really, really trying to declutter, y'all, but it is, when you thrift every week, you get a lot of crap you don't need. I'm just saying. Anyways, this is the big picture from over here. And I have extra stuff over in the by the fireplace because we're camping, so I got to take some stuff out there. And this is my Putty. Hi, Putty. Say hi, Puddin'. 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 Say hi. Can you talk to me? Can you talk to me, Putty? Can you talk to Mama? Everybody's healthy and doing well, though. I'm so glad my baby girl's doing better, Daisy, because she was so pitiful. So, talk to me. Oh, does that feel good? I think my Daisy's feeling better. This is what happens when I don't pet her. So I'll pet her and love on her. Look at this rotten dog. And then watch. Hello, I'm still here. What? Tell me. What do you want? Shh. You are rotten, baby girl. Look at Mama. Are you rotten? You're so sweet. You're rotten, though, to the core. Anyways, that's the way everything is looking from this angle. And let me show you the bedroom real quick. So lots of changes in here. Don't do that to my blanket. She picks, bless you, she picks my blanket so bad. I don't think she means to, but she does. So I recently, can y'all stop, please? Hey! What? I recently, hold on, let me let the puppies out. Alrighty then, sorry about that. I recently thrifted this, I'm sorry, didn't thrift it. I got this off of Facebook Marketplace for $10, this shelf, and it was a really dark brown, and I chalk painted it and then distressed it heavily, and then I did some black, what do you call it? Rub and buff, the ebony, whatever. I just coated the edges of it a little bit with that. And today I decided to put my husband's, this is his side of the bed, so I decided to put his vintage pipe collection up here. So I used one of these old cheese boxes and put them hanging out. And this is his diffuser. What he uses is for his watering his diffuser, you know. And a bunch of his pipes there and a pipe holder that's vintage. But I just put it on his side of the bed under our little sign here. They were all in here, so I don't know if I'm going to keep that in here or not. It's kind of what he wants, so. Nothing's changed over here. I might have changed up the wreath a little bit. It's just a like cream colored sunflowers. And did order a new comforter because, oh my God, I love my pudding, but her little nails will catch everything, and I don't really know why. This is one of the things I thrifted recently. The little coverlet right there. It's so pretty with that medallion look. There's an old trunk. Very, very old trunk that I got at a yard sale. I love this silver tray in here. I think it's so pretty. I did recently take the bed skirt off to wash it. And I like being able to see under the bed, but I have a couple rugs under the bed, so I don't really care for it. And these are our Bibles that we use regularly, but my husband has one that he uses even more regularly on the kitchen table that he keeps out. See, this is what Puddin' does when she gets on the bed. That's why I tell her to get off of this. Hi, Daisy. Hi, baby. What are you doing? Okay, so I took the big hutch out of here and it was just too much. I was a little bit overwhelmed with everything going on in here. So I took that away and I just simplified everything in here. I know there's my weights, but I just do those occasionally. Hey y'all, sorry. I am messy because and look at those sexy Crocs right there, y'all. No makeup. I've been cleaning the house, so yeah, it's not a good look, but that's okay. And I brought this pretty vintage dresser in here. I don't know why I don't have the drawer shut, but I redid this one last year, I think, that I got from the thrift store. So it looks nice with my little angel vines on here. So they love this spot. This was not doing great where it was, so I brought it in here because this one was, and it's doing much better now. So there's my another one of my favorite antiques right here is this basket, and I love it. So our little wall here, I have thrifted these two candlesticks, and I have the faux, I don't know why I don't have the light on in here, y'all. I have the faux candles in here, so that's really nice in the evening time to put those on. It has a remote. Here's the little limb that my husband, I actually gathered it up when we were in the Keys. That place is actually completely shut down. I don't know what they did with it, but it was just a little pull off, and it was sitting there, you know, not being used or anything, and I just picked it up and put it in the truck. So, but there's my little church pew. This is a thrifted pillow, and I really like it. I think it's so pretty. This is a quilt. It's not thrifted. It was a gift. A couple of my vintage white Bibles. And I have this here. Sorry, y'all, I'm getting ready to go camping. That's my medication and stuff, my hat and stuff. This I'm thinking of putting in the corner over here in the bedroom, mounting it on the wall. But, of course, I have to have my husband's help because I don't want to kill anything. So, you know what I mean. So, this is a thrifted candelabra, and it's got those little automatic candle things in it. So, thrifted baby shoes and a little thrifted crucifix. My husband and I at our wedding. Look, he looks so young there. Well, we both did, I guess. We'll be 20 years in January. That's so crazy. That's here at our house. So, a little blessed sign. And I don't know if y'all, I think this was before I started my channel, but this was all brown. And I painted it with chalk paint and sanded the mess out of it, and I like it so much better. Oh, sorry about this. I was filming me making the bed earlier, and these are my husband's shorts and my Celsius. He's wearing those shorts on our trip, so he just has them laid out, and I was cleaning the house and drinking my Celsius. So we live here, y'all. Sorry. Well, I'm sorry, not sorry, I guess. This is my little vignette. I actually took this silver tray and painted it with chalk paint and then sanded some of it off, and it turned out so pretty. So some vintage books, a vintage vase with my sweet little cream colored tulips. I love this little lamp. This is a flower frog holding, I don't know if this is like just a handheld one or what, but this is a bridal Bible. I love bridal Bibles. And this is a little crucifix or whatever, not what are those things called? Rosary. So, and here's Miss Penelope. I moved her too. So she's over here by herself. Nothing has changed on sweet little Penelope. I changed this up some too. I put my decor steels apothecary chest there. And I have a collection of some of my vintage items there. My vintage bridal Bibles is what all those are. Or white Bibles, I'm sorry. These are the bridal ones. These are just white Bibles. My daughter's wedding flowers when she was in our wedding. This fell during the night because it's not really up here. It's just sitting up there like on a little bitty post. And look, I gotta find it. I vacuumed under the bed and everything and didn't find it, but I know it's here somewhere. So that little piece right here came off. And it's just a Hobby Lobby thing, but I don't want to have to buy another one. Here's another thrifted. Obviously, I have a thing for rocky horses. So there's my hubby and I on a fishing trip that actually we were scalloping off of Keaton Beach. So one of my patients / friends took us, and we had such a good time. I definitely think my clock is off. It is. That's okay though. I really don't like hearing it tick at night. So there's my little jewelry chest or whatever. It fits perfectly under here. This is my husband's stuff. I don't mess with it. I don't know what happened to there we go. Here's my a little thrifted table. I don't know what's in the floor, y'all, because I've already vacuumed and everything. It's because the dogs have been in here. They are a little disastrous. This is so sweet. Dear friends of mine, when my mother passed, they sent me flowers, and this is a little vase, and every time I see it, I think about them. They're so sweet. And there's my little Hobby Lobby picture, and my church sign from Etsy. I love it. Let me turn this light on in here. Oops, that's my closet. And y'all, my closet is still clean. I want y'all to, this is proof here, y'all. I wasn't planning on showing y'all this, but it's still clean. Isn't that lovely? I mean, mostly clean. I left my flip-flops because I have to take them on a trip. The vacuum cleaner just started. I don't know why. That's kind of weird. But I thrifted this yesterday, but it's brand new. This Humane Society is going out of business, so that kills me. Anyways, Ron is having his surgery. The gentleman I told y'all to pray for, if you didn't mind, he's having his surgery. He's got peripheral artery disease as well as cancer, so they're going to try to save his leg. He's gonna have his surgery on August the 14th. He's the one that runs the shop that's going down. So these are pictures. I know this is a little personal and it's a little dusty too, but these are Labor Day weekend was the weekend before my husband found my breast lump, and I'm so glad. His birthday is September 9th, and I'm so glad my daughter took these pictures for us, because my whole life changed right after then. I was diagnosed with breast cancer, lost all my hair, my boobies, everything. So I'm a Jeep girl. This was my first Jeep. So anyways, my daughter was my little photographer, and we took pictures, and I gifted these to him for his birthday. I'm so glad I did. And then I have my little sunshine. You are my sunshine. I love that picture. My husband got that for me. And my plants are still doing great in here. This is in really my husband's bathroom because I use it to put on my makeup, but other than that, I don't use it. He has his own shower and I have mine. So this is a thrifted metal vase. It's beautiful and it's old. This is I dug this out of a trash can, this frame. I think it was an outline of a mirror, and then my husband put these corbels and shelves up, so it's kind of like a shelf now. It is a shelf now, so it's made out of stuff that was no longer to be. I have a little collection of brass rocking horses up here, but they're all doing really well, my plants. And I'm not sure y'all have seen this before, but it's hard to get in here because I've got a bench behind me, so I can't get really still. But this is a vintage shelf. Remember the kind, and they have the little things here. My husband didn't like the little things, so I took those off. And it was that dark brown, and I sanded the tar out of it and put poly on it. But my plants here are doing good. These are faux plants here, but this one is doing great. It's a philodendron. This is my collection of antique and vintage creamers, and I love it, y'all. I thrifted this one really recently too, like last week. So a couple of little, I think these are anthropology candles. And I have a couple of silver pieces. I have a thing for baby cups. So aren't they sweet? They look really pretty against the white, I think. So anyways, that's my little collection of baby creamers. I have more than this, but this is the ones in here. This is on my side of the bathroom wall. And I know it's dark, and it's not really dark in here, but it's because it's light back here. But this is in our the toilet area. But the plant that I had in here that was doing so well, it bit the dust. So I had to put, this is just a pothos, and it's doing well. So I have a few of these holders that are empty right now. But anyways, that's our little toilet area. Look at my string of bananas. It is doing fantastic, and it keeps going and going and going. This is a donkey tail, and it's crazy. Look how long they are. They're crazy. This is a planter my friend just gifted me, and I work with her. And I made a naughty post about it now having a bush in it. So anyways, and this is my string of pearls. Only problem is it gets little bugs or something, and they get everywhere, but it's really healthy and pretty, so I like it. It's in a vintage teapot. So anyways, this has been here since before we bought the house. I don't know if they were shot at or something, but it's really encouraging. And this is the last wall in our bedroom. Hey Daisy girl, you good? And I just have a bookshelf in here with a vintage picture with some flowers, a vintage clock, another rocky horse down here. I just love rocky horses. I think they're so sweet. And a basket of cluttered crap, it looks like. A little accordion shelf with nothing on it. This is a Hobby Lobby thing I bought years ago, and I've got my essential oils and stuff in it, but I did purchase these two sweet sunflower. They look like drawings. I mean, when you get up close, they are so beautiful. And I put them on either side there. There's my vintage cloth. Well, it's not vintage. It looks vintage, vintage inspired. So I have more baby cups here, and there's just this little what's this called? What's the white one called, y'all? Milk glass. A little milk glass pedestal. Aren't these beautiful, y'all? They're so pretty. So pretty. And here's the other one. Oops, sorry, Daisy. I just love them. And they were very cheap. I bought them, I think together they were like $15. So anyways, they're so pretty. Here's the side of this little vintage, this cabinet that I redid, and it looks so pretty that you can see it from the side when you walk into the bedroom. So I really Here's the bigger view of the bedroom. This goes out to the backyard. Sorry, I'm trying to do this slow so I don't make y'all dizzy. And then there's our hallway to go into the bathroom. So anyways, guys, thanks so much for watching. I know this was long and chatty, and there you go. So that was it for now. So I hope y'all have a wonderful day. Thank you again for watching, y'all, and take care of yourselves. Bye-bye.